The agentic revolution is here. And for leaders, that can pose two dangers. One is that you stick your head in the sand and gradually lose your competitive edge. Another is that you adapt too quickly, plowing money into the bleeding edge and R&D just to invite risks your organization isn't prepared to carry. Where's the middle path here? Well, if we're talking about the software delivery lifecycle, I don't think it's just going to have some minor adjustments. For some organizations I'm speaking to, it's transformed almost beyond recognition. This goes way beyond a tooling upgrade. They've rethought the entire process itself. Agents can do more than just assist. They review, validate, improve, and fix. And once that happens, the old handoffs in the lifecycle start to break down. Take code review, for example. At the moment, an agent can inspect code in a PR. It can look for bugs. It can check standards. It can compare the changes made to the acceptance criteria on the ticket. It can spot missing tests or where there's missing evidence, but it can also fix the problems it finds. So if an agent can see the issue, carry out a root cause analysis, propose a fix, and actually fix it and test it, then why would we throw it back into a queue for developers to pick up and fix? Developer to tester, tester to reviewer, back to developer. Around and round it goes. That's why agentic AI is really an operating model question, not just a tooling question. If we keep the old software delivery lifecycle intact, with the same boundaries and responsibilities and handoffs split across the same chain, there's no way businesses are going to see the gains that they're hoping for when investing in AI. They're rightly expecting return on that investment, but they're not going to get it by dropping agents into an operating model built for a different kind of work. Now, that doesn't mean that every organization should rush out and try and invent the next software delivery lifecycle themselves. Some will, some have, and some are set up to take that risk, but a lot aren't. I often talk about how speed and direction are different things and how frameworks like BMAD can help you with that, about knowing what it is you're going to build before you start building it. But this also applies to the way that you change your organization. If you introduce agentic practices badly, you can move much faster in the wrong direction. You can build the wrong thing more efficiently, and you can dig further down a tunnel that was never worth digging. But there is a risk in under-preparing. Teams take a quick look at the tooling, get one bad output, and write the whole thing off as hype. They get access to the tools, but what they usually don't get is the loop thinking around the tools. They aren't yet aware of concepts like the compound assurance one I was talking about in my last video. And that leaves them late on the habits, not just late on the actual software. So for me, the middle path is this. You don't need to reinvent the software delivery lifecycle yet, but you do need to prepare. We'll gradually see more examples of what good looks like, new patterns, new rituals, new team shapes, and better ways of fitting the pieces together. But if you don't want to do the R&D yourself, that's fine. But you should try to prepare your staff. So give them the tools, get them used to them, get their imaginations whirring, get them experimenting, and start by using small, controlled human agent loops inside the workflows that you already have. Developers can use the loops to fix bugs, run tests, and shift more assurance earlier in the workflow. Business analysts can use loops to turn documents into clearer specs and acceptance criteria. Project managers can use loops to turn bid documents into delivery plans grounded in real delivery data. And all of that can be aligned to your standards and validated against your ways of working. That kind of work does two things at once. It gives you some immediate productivity benefit, and it starts exposing the team to all kinds of tooling and loop design that they may need later. We'll need that way of thinking later. The coming changes go deeper than improving individual roles. I've already seen this firsthand with agentic delivery. Gen AI helped with the specs, validation, build and test, and the coding moved quickly. But after a week, we realized that we hadn't built what the business actually needed. It wasn't what the BA had actually meant when writing down that spec. So coding speed wasn't the problem there. The loop speed was. The feedback loop needed to be every few hours, not every few days. And once you see that, you start asking the same questions I am now. Why are these roles arranged like this at all? Why do we assume the same boundaries between analyst, tester, and developer if the work itself is changing shape? The answers are starting to show, but they're not entirely obvious yet. One thing is clear though, the old team's structure and life cycle won't stay the same. The transformation is structural, not cosmetic. This is the same work being organized differently. It changes where feedback happens, how fast it happens, and who or what participates in the loop. And the mix of skills we're going to need to do our jobs is going to be shaken up. In my view, we're going to need T-shaped specialists more than ever. But the stem of the T could be things like product understanding, business value and spec creation, or orchestration loop engineering. But you're not going to need that level of deep understanding across all the technical parts of the delivery cycle. Possibly. I mean, that's just how it's looking to me now. But either way, the answer isn't full automation now if you're not ready for it, but neither is it business as usual. It's preparation, small loops, controlled risk, better habits, better judgments, because the agentic revolution is already here. But crucially, it's not too late to prepare for it.